Hello, my name is Thomas O'Regan and I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Now, I want to talk to you guys about the real reason people do not make money in property. Now, people do not make money in property, or the biggest reason people do not make money in property is because they're thinking through an emotional lens. They emotionally think because they like the property or whatever other thing they're thinking through emotionally, that it's a good investment. And I just want to say, if you ever find yourself thinking through how to make what is a good investment and what is not a good investment, and you notice that it's emotions that are driving you, then you need to stop and start using some logic. Okay, and I would recommend you use logic that is what a professional property investor would do. Find someone that has a large property portfolio or is where you want to be in terms of your investment goals, and ask them how they would think through the decision. You can go on Google or YouTube and find online mentors as well, but if you just want to do it on your own and you think you know everything, and you find you're making decisions emotionally, I'll tell you that's how most people never make money in property and do not do it. But basically, I'll just give you an example here of what I mean. So a good investment would be, for example, you've located a property market that is significantly less than the rest of Australia. Maybe it's regional, maybe it's not, it doesn't really matter. And let's just put a number on it and say you found a market where the property's price range is between 200,000 and 600,000. And the difference between the properties that are 200,000 and 600,000 is the ones that are 600,000, and this is the only difference, are fully renovated and very nice, and the other ones are not. Okay, so a good investment decision would be, so I understand that the property that is renovated and very nice and selling for a high price is at the top of the market. Therefore, there is only a small amount of people that can pay that much money to buy that property. So I'm understanding that, or you need to understand that that is a very risky investment, whether it's very nicely renovated or not. There's not many people in any area that continuously buy the most expensive property in the area. That's why it's the most expensive property in the area. But on the flip side, there are many people within that area that can afford the cheapest property. Now, what is the actual issue with the cheapest property that is making it that way? Maybe it needs a renovation. Most likely it needs a renovation, okay? But in terms of like land size or whatever, it potentially could be the same size, even larger, or maybe a little bit smaller than the other comparable property that is fully renovated and far more expensive. What you need to understand is that property that's $200,000, to get it up to, or you don't really need to get it up to what the property is at the top of the market, but just maybe somewhere in the middle, to get that property to be comparable to the properties that are valued somewhat in the middle of the price point of that market. What do I need to do? How much is it going to cost me? And let's call the middle of that market 320,000. Most properties in that area are selling for 320,000. So what you want to do is you want to go out and look at these properties that are selling for 320,000 and say, this property for 200,000, if I spent some amount of capital on it, could I get it up to that standard for less money than it would than the difference, right? Say, for example, you could spend 50,000 on a $200,000 property to get it up to the standard of a $320,000 or $350,000 property. That's a good investment. That's a good investment, okay? Hope you understand that. And what is the upside of doing that as well? So the upside of it's just you've just completely de-risked your position. Now look, it may literally cost the same amount of money to buy a $600,000 property in terms of the capital you're going to use. it may to buy the $600,000 property as it would to buy a $200,000 property and put a $50,000 renovation in it. You may be out of pocket the exact same amount of money, and that's my point. This is the logical stuff you need to think through when you're making an investment. Basically, there's other benefits of buying a property at the lower end of the market and renovating it. That would be the property the banks would tend to value it once the renovation's done a lot higher than what it started with. So not only has the property gone up in value in a short space of time, but you can pull more equity out of the property once it's finished renovation to scale that property portfolio, continue to grow your property portfolio and continue to buy properties. Whereas the other property at the top of the market, not only is it very unlikely that it will continue to grow until the other properties catch up to or get close to its value, but you won't ever be able to, or it will take a very long time for you to get your money back out in equity from that property. Hopefully this helped, guys. See you next time. Bye.